When we gaze upon the sophistication of ancient Egypt, when we contemplate the sheer scale and precision of the pyramids, a sense of awe washes over us. How did a civilization, seemingly isolated in the vast expanse of the desert, achieve such feats? We're left to speculate, to imagine a society capable of moving 500-ton stone blocks over 500 miles. The Almagest, a 2nd-century mathematical and astronomical treatise by Ptolemy, showcases the advanced understanding of celestial mechanics prevalent in the Hellenistic period, hinting at knowledge that may have roots in earlier Egyptian traditions.
In the ancient city of Luxor, nestled within the majestic walls of its temple, lies a mystery that throws our understanding of ancient Egypt's science and philosophy into disarray. Egyptologist R.A. Schwaller de Lubitsch, after dedicating 12 years to an exhaustive study of the Temple of Luxor, posited a radical idea. The ancient Egyptians possessed a sophisticated, immutable knowledge, fully formed from the earliest dynasties. This knowledge, as detailed in his seminal work, The Temple of Man, published in 1957, suggested a comprehension of the universe far exceeding that of contemporaneous civilizations. De Lubitsch's meticulous research into the temple's intricate carvings and architectural design led him to a remarkable discovery. He termed it transparency. While meticulously copying temple plans and examining wall carvings, he observed tiny stones embedded within larger blocks, previously dismissed as mere errors or repairs. De Lubitsch proposed that these stones were, in fact, deliberate markers, placed by master builders to indicate precise measurements. This revelation, supported by his own adjusted measurements, unveiled even more astonishing findings. He observed that carvings on opposite sides of some walls appeared to align in seemingly impossible ways, as if the stone between them was transparent, allowing the design to flow seamlessly through. This phenomenon, which de Lubitsch likened to a see-through banknote, as described in his work Sacred Science, suggested a level of craftsmanship and intentionality that defies conventional understanding of ancient architecture. The temple's carvings, he realized, could only be fully appreciated when viewed as a continuous design, transcending the physical limitations of the stone itself. One striking example of this transparency can be found between Room 12 and Room 5 in the Temple of Luxor. A stone block separating these rooms features carvings that seem to project through the stone itself. In Room 12, a hieroglyph for cloth is carved, while in Room 5, a box for cloths appears. The two images align perfectly, as if the stone were transparent. The technical precision required to achieve this effect raises profound questions about the knowledge and skills of the ancient builders. De Lubitsch's discoveries extended beyond transparency. He also identified transposition, a technique where symbols and carvings were arranged across different parts of the temple to create multidimensional connections. For instance, Montu's solar disk in Room 2 is conceptually projected into the shrine of Amun-Ra's boat in Room 6. The boat's contents are hidden, requiring the observer to explore multiple spaces to grasp the intended meaning. These techniques suggest a level of philosophical and scientific depth in ancient Egyptian culture that modern Egyptology had long overlooked. De Lubitsch argued that the Egyptians weren't merely concealing knowledge within their architecture. They were presenting a more profound, spatial form of understanding. By dividing concepts across different parts of the temple, the Egyptians created an environment where knowledge was experienced holistically, rather than as isolated facts or images. In his groundbreaking work, The Temple of Man, de Lubitsch revealed an entirely new architectural grammar. This grammar, encoded in the blocks, shapes, joints, and symbolic overlays, transformed the Egyptian temple into a living library of knowledge, accessible only through deep, immersive study. His discoveries fundamentally redefined how scholars approach ancient Egyptian architecture, leading to a radical re-evaluation of the intellectual achievements of this ancient civilization. The most revolutionary aspect of de Lubitsch's work was the realization that the meaning of inscriptions and symbols on one wall could not be fully understood without considering their relationships to carvings in other parts of the temple. This interconnectedness suggested a three-dimensional approach to knowledge, engaging the observer on multiple levels. For de Lubac, the true purpose of transparency and transposition was not merely to complete an idea, but to clarify it in a way that transcended traditional communication methods. As we delve deeper into the mysteries of the Temple of Luxor, it becomes increasingly evident that the ancient Egyptians possessed a unique understanding of art and science. Their use of transparency and transposition reflected a worldview that seamlessly connected the physical and the metaphysical, the material and the immaterial. Transparency in particular hinted at a belief that solid matter was, in a sense, deceptive, with light, or knowledge itself, being the true fundamental reality. De Lubac's discoveries at the Temple of Luxor did more than challenge traditional views of Egyptian architecture. They opened a door to a new understanding of how the Egyptians perceived the world. Through transparency and transposition, he uncovered a sophisticated system of thought that extended far beyond the temple's walls. He believed this system could be found in other artifacts, such as papyri, which contained multi-layered meanings intended to be understood holistically. Transparency, for example, was more than a mere architectural technique. It represented a deeper philosophical belief. By prioritizing light over solid matter, the Egyptians expressed a worldview that saw physical reality as secondary to the metaphysical. De Lubac suggested that this belief in the primacy of light explains why transparency was central to the Temple of Luxor's design. The stone blocks weren't just barriers, but conduits for knowledge and understanding. Transposition added yet another dimension to this philosophy, emphasizing the importance of seeing beyond the surface. To fully understand the temple, one had to move through it, experiencing the connections between different spaces and symbols. This design reflected an understanding of spatial awareness and perception that resonates with modern psychological theories, such as Gestalt. Gestalt psychology, which emerged in the early 20th century, emphasizes that the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. Human perception naturally organizes individual elements into a unified whole, rather than analyzing each part in isolation. De Lubac's work mirrors this idea, as he argued that the carvings and inscriptions in the temple were part of a larger, interconnected system. Just as Gestalt theory highlights the importance of perceiving the overall form, de Lubac focused on perceiving the entire meaning of the temple. De Lubac's discoveries inevitably lead to profound questions. Who were the true originators of this knowledge? Were the Egyptians solely responsible for developing these advanced ideas, or were they inheritors of a wisdom passed down from an even older, perhaps lost civilization? And what can these ancient ideas teach us about the very nature of reality? By connecting ancient Egyptian concepts with modern scientific theories, we can unlock new insights into the mysteries of the past and entertain the possibility that the answers to our most profound questions may lie not in the future, but in the echoes of the distant past. For centuries, the Great Pyramid has been an enigma. No murals, no lavish inscriptions, just perfectly cut stone rising toward the heavens, silent and inscrutable. That silence sparked endless speculation. Was it a tomb, a symbolic structure, a lost technology? Theories swirled, some plausible, many not. But the lack of written clues inside the pyramid made it a riddle carved in limestone. Until now. In a cavity hidden above the king's chamber, one of several mysterious voids detected by modern scanning technology, archaeologists discovered markings painted in red ochre. Unlike the decorative hieroglyphs of tombs and temples, these were functional, rough, unadorned. Crew names, work teams, overseer titles, scribbled with care. The kind of graffiti left not by vandals, but by builders marking their work. And what those hieroglyphs say has flipped the historical narrative. For generations, Western accounts insisted the pyramids were built by slaves, driven by tyrants and whipmasters. It was a convenient myth, one that reinforced biblical tropes and colonial narratives. But the writings in this hidden chamber tell a different story. They reveal an organized labor force, divided into named teams, with job titles and pride in their craft. One gang called themselves the Friends of Khufu. Another inscription mentions an overseer of the side of the pyramid. These were not slaves. These were artisans, engineers, and laborers, working under royal command but earning their place in history. Suddenly, the Great Pyramid isn't just an architectural marvel. It's a testament to coordination, logistics, and community, on a scale the world had never seen. This discovery doesn't stand alone. In recent decades, evidence has been piling up to dismantle the old myths. Excavations at Giza have revealed worker cemeteries, graves of men who helped build the pyramids, buried with honor near the monuments they raised. Their skeletons show signs of hard labor, but also signs of medical care and decent nutrition. Slaves weren't buried beside kings. These people were valued. And then came a revelation from an unexpected place, the coast of the Red Sea. At a site called Wadi al-Jarf, researchers unearthed the oldest known papyrus scrolls. Among them, a logbook belonging to a man named Mera. He was a mid-level official, responsible for transporting limestone blocks from the Tura quarries to Giza. His diary, written in real time over the course of several months, describes how his crew ferried massive stone shipments up the Nile, coordinating with supply teams and reporting to royal supervisors. It's the ancient equivalent of a construction manager's notebook, and it describes in stunning detail the building of the Great Pyramid. The Mera papyri and the new hieroglyphs inside the pyramid reinforce each other. One comes from outside, the other from within. Together, they offer a coherent human story, not of aliens or slave armies, but of real people working together to create something immortal. But the most thrilling part? The pyramid is still talking. In 2017, an international team used muon tomography, particle physics applied to archaeology, to scan the Great Pyramid without touching a stone. What they found was astonishing. A massive void, nearly 30 meters long, located above the Grand Gallery. To this day, no one knows what's inside. It could be a structural feature, or it could be a hidden chamber untouched for millennia. The pyramid, after all these years, is still revealing new secrets. And just recently, in 2023, archaeologists announced the discovery of a sealed corridor behind the pyramid's north face. 9 meters long, pristine, and completely inaccessible until now. Using a small endoscopic camera snaked through the stone, they captured the first images of this space since the reign of Khufu himself. Empty, yes, but clearly intentional. Was it a relieving chamber, or a concealed passage to something more? The implications are staggering, because if hieroglyphs were found in one secret cavity, what might lie in others? Could more inscriptions be hidden in the big void? Could ancient tools, burial goods, or blueprints still wait behind undisturbed blocks? Every new discovery invites more questions. And while most archaeologists remain grounded, cautioning against wild speculation, there's no denying the electricity in the air. The Great Pyramid, the only surviving wonder of the ancient world, isn't done speaking. And it's finally speaking in its own voice. The red-painted hieroglyphs are not ornate. They're not designed to awe. They're simple, direct, and unmistakably human. In that simplicity lies their power. They tell us that the pyramid was built not by pharaohs alone, but by workers with names, jobs, and pride. They claim their place in the story, not as slaves, but as makers. And for the first time in history, we can read their words from inside the monument they left behind. It's hard not to feel a chill when you consider it. The very people who placed these stones, who hauled and chiseled and climbed day after day, left their mark. They knew that what they were building would endure. And somehow, they must have hoped that someday, someone would read what they left behind. That day has come. But the story doesn't end with a few decoded symbols on stone. Just miles from the Great Pyramid, buried beneath centuries of sand, researchers uncovered something far more disturbing. A 9,000-year-old book filled with accounts so ancient and so terrifying that even today's scientists are struggling to explain what it contains.
Nobody actually knew that it existed until it was accidentally discovered. It's about 5,000 years old, but we can't read that script. The script exists, but we can't read it. So there could be all kinds of information in that script.
Discoveries of ancient texts in Egypt have significantly expanded our understanding of ancient civilizations, particularly those of ancient Egypt, Greece, and Rome. These discoveries span various genres, including religious, scientific, literary, and philosophical texts, opening our eyes to ancient moments you had to be there to believe. In 1799, during Napoleon's ambitious campaign in Egypt, a remarkable discovery was made by French soldiers near the town of Rosetta, now known as Rashid. They unearthed a granodiorite slab, dark and hard, which would come to be recognized as one of the most significant archaeological finds in history, the Rosetta Stone. This discovery was monumental not just for its immediate impact, but for the doors it would open in the field of Egyptology.
We actually don't know what these chambers were for. No burial of any pharaoh was ever found inside the Great Pyramid.
Is there not a hidden chamber as well?
In fact, there is a whole underworld at Giza. This is beginning to be recognized. I think there's a lot more remains to be discovered under the Giza plateau.
Yeah.
The mysterious and captivating Osiris shaft, nestled in the heart of the Giza plateau, is a marvel that dates back to the New Kingdom period of ancient Egypt, a time spanning from about 1550 to 1070 BC. This era, renowned for its unprecedented architectural, artistic, and religious advancements, represents the zenith of Egyptian civilization's power and cultural prowess.
We actually haven't done a whole lot of studying on the other pyramids. It's something that's severely lacking.
It's within this rich historical tapestry that the construction of the Osiris shaft is situated, suggesting its considerable significance in the religious or funerary practices of the time, reflective of the profound spiritual and theological currents that characterized the period.
That is who Osiris is. His image is seen in the sky as the constellation of Orion.
The New Kingdom is often heralded as the peak of ancient Egypt's glory, marked by immense prosperity and cultural flowering. The decision to construct the Osiris shaft during such a time indicates its potential importance, perhaps serving as a monumental or ceremonial site linked to the elite or royalty. This was also a period when the cult of Osiris, the deity of the afterlife and resurrection, gained substantial traction, reflecting the era's deep religious fervor. The very naming and intended use of the Osiris shaft likely underscore a direct engagement with rituals or beliefs centered around Osiris, underscoring the structure's religious significance. Interestingly, the Osiris shaft didn't merely belong to the New Kingdom, but appeared to have found relevance and was repurposed during the Sate period, around the 26th dynasty, from 664 to 525 BC.
We're looking at the remnants of a lost civilization. They might have left cultural knowledge, they might have left architecture and objects.
This era, known for its retrospective look at Egypt's illustrious past in an attempt to revive the splendor of earlier times, saw the shaft being reused or adapted for new purposes. This inclination towards embracing ancient traditions may have inspired the shaft's restoration or modification, aiming to reconnect with the spiritual and cultural achievements of the New Kingdom era. Artifacts and inscriptions unearthed within the shaft, dating from various periods, provide a glimpse into its sustained or evolving significance over centuries. The exploration journey of the Osiris shaft, particularly spearheaded by Giovanni Battista Belzoni in 1817, marks a pivotal chapter in the annals of Egyptology. Belzoni's venture into the shaft not only unveiled its architectural complexity and the depths it reached, but also bridged a connection to the ancient world for the West. His efforts at the Giza plateau, especially his work with the Osiris shaft, laid the foundational stones for the field of Egyptology, opening up new avenues for understanding ancient Egyptian engineering. The shaft's proximity to the iconic pyramids, especially its location south of Khafre's causeway, enriches its historical and cultural context. Khafre's pyramid, a testament to Egyptian architectural finesse and religious zeal, casts a long shadow over the Osiris shaft, creating a stark contrast between the visible grandeur of the pyramids and the hidden depths of the shaft. This juxtaposition not only highlights the Egyptians' mastery over both the celestial and the underworld realms, but also suggests the shaft's strategic placement. Ancient Egyptians revered celestial alignments, and the positioning of the Osiris shaft could well have been meticulously chosen to fit into a larger cosmological framework. Diving into the heart of the Giza plateau, the Osiris shaft is not just a marvel of ancient Egyptian engineering, but a deep dive into the spiritual and symbolic realms that defined this ancient civilization. With its 3 distinct levels carved into the limestone, leading down around 100 feet, this architectural masterpiece reveals the Egyptians' prowess in engineering and their nuanced approach to the afterlife's mysteries. Each level, connected by vertical shafts, plays its unique role in this journey to the beyond, showcasing a civilization that was as much about the spiritual as it was about the tangible. The first level of the Osiris shaft acts as the initial threshold, a gateway that ushers one from the land of the living into the depths of the afterlife. Its modest design, quite unlike the grandeur seen in other Egyptian tombs and monuments, possibly served a dual purpose. Not only might it have been intended to ward off the uninitiated, preserving the sanctity of the rites within, but it also set the tone for the soul's journey ahead. This chamber, likely a stage for preliminary rituals, echoes with the remnants of purification rites, offerings to deities, and the recitation of spells from the Book of the Dead. Each ritual meticulously designed to guide and protect the soul on its passage through the underworld. The engineering feat of constructing this chamber directly into the bedrock cannot be overstated. The ancient Egyptians showcased their unparalleled skill and understanding of their environment, executing such precision and stability deep within the earth. The smooth walls and exact dimensions of the chamber are a testament to their craftsmanship, ensuring the site's longevity and safeguarding it against collapses and water ingress. Proceeding deeper into the Osiris shaft brings us to the second level, a realm that holds a pivotal position in both the architectural grandeur and the spiritual odyssey encapsulated within this ancient edifice. This layer beneath the Earth's surface serves as a vital transition phase in the soul's journey, marking a profound shift from the mortal world to the enigmatic depths of the afterlife. Architecturally, this level distinguishes itself from the more modest first level through its elaborate design. Niches meticulously carved into the walls hint at their role as sanctuaries for statues, offering vessels or other objects of ritual significance, each contributing to the intricate ritual practices emblematic of this phase in the afterlife journey. The spatial complexity of this level, with its alcoves and expanded areas, suggests a setup intended for more elaborate ceremonies or a larger congregation of participants, possibly including priests or the deceased's kin, underscoring a communal dimension to these rites. Indeed, the architectural layout of this level, designed to accommodate multiple individuals, speaks volumes about the ancient Egyptians' conception of the afterlife. It suggests a belief in a collective journey of souls, or underscores the importance of maintaining social and familial bonds beyond death. This collective aspect of the second level of the Osiris shaft reinforces the idea that the journey through the afterlife was envisioned not as a solitary voyage, but as a shared experience, woven into the fabric of the community and the cosmos. Descending into the depths of the Osiris shaft, we reach its third and deepest level, a place that is physically profound. Here we find ourselves in the closest proximity to the mythical underworld of the ancient Egyptians, a realm that symbolizes the ultimate destination in the afterlife journey, rebirth or resurrection. This level, akin to the Duat, the ancient Egyptian netherworld where souls are judged and, if deemed worthy, reborn, holds a central place in the narrative of death and rebirth that permeates Egyptian mythology. Central to this chamber's significance is its alignment with the mythology of Osiris, the god of the afterlife, the dead, and rebirth. The story of Osiris's death and resurrection is not just a myth, it's the bedrock of the Egyptian understanding of the afterlife, representing the cycle of life, death, and rebirth. This chamber, situated at the heart of the Osiris shaft, is a direct nod to this myth, embodying the deepest hopes and beliefs of the ancient Egyptians regarding the afterlife. The presence of water in this chamber adds another layer of symbolic depth. Far from being a mere physical feature, the water represents the primeval waters of Nun, chaotic yet essential for creation and rebirth in Egyptian cosmology. This connection to the waters of Nun, mirroring the life-giving floods of the Nile, highlights water's role as a source of life and a means for regeneration. It's in this water-filled chamber that the deceased undergoes a final purification, a crucial step preparing their soul for rebirth into the afterlife. This practice aligns with the ritual use of water for cleansing and purification. The architecture of this deepest chamber is meticulously crafted, reflecting its sacred purpose. More complex and solemn than the levels above, it is designed to house the most sacred elements associated with the afterlife rituals. The possibility that this chamber could have contained a cenotaph, serving as a symbolic tomb for Osiris, or even been an actual burial place for high-ranking individuals or priests, adds to its importance. The inclusion of a sarcophagus within this chamber, surrounded by the symbolic waters of Nun, emphasizes the significance of this space not just as a site of burial, but as a profound statement on the Egyptian concept of the afterlife. This journey through the Osiris shaft, from its entrance to the deepest level, offers a vivid glimpse into the ancient Egyptian worldview. It reveals a civilization deeply engaged with the mysteries of life and death, expressing these themes through the complex architecture and symbolic depth of structures like the Osiris shaft. Here, at the heart of the ancient world, we find a profound expression of hope for rebirth and a life beyond death, encapsulated within the sacred spaces of the Osiris shaft.
Recent discoveries are beginning to paint a picture of a world far more advanced and far stranger than history books dare to admit. And what scientists are finding buried in forgotten ruins is nothing short of shocking.
It begins with precision. Across Egypt, Peru, and Mesopotamia, researchers have uncovered blocks of granite and basalt so perfectly cut, so immaculately polished, that even today's diamond-tipped tools would struggle to replicate them. In fact, some of these stones reveal microscopic striations consistent not with chisels or hammers, but with high-speed machinery. Could it be that ancient engineers possessed lost methods of stone cutting that remain beyond our grasp? Or is it evidence of a technology buried with time, one we've only just begun to rediscover? The deeper we look, the stranger it gets. In 2017, archaeologists excavating a site in Turkey, older even than the pyramids, found massive stone pillars at Göbekli Tepe, carved with symbols and aligned with celestial constellations. Yet this site dates back over 11,000 years, long before the wheel or writing were thought to exist. How could hunter-gatherers build something so mathematically complex, with astronomical alignments still accurate today? It suggests knowledge of the stars and engineering capabilities that should have been impossible. And Göbekli Tepe is not alone. Across the world, ruins whisper the same story. Someone, long ago, knew far more than we assume. Then there are the machines. In 2022, a controversial discovery shook the academic world. Copper and ceramic artifacts pulled from Mesopotamian ruins, resembling primitive batteries. Devices that, when reconstructed, actually generated electricity. Were these the world's first batteries, used perhaps for electroplating, medicine, or even rituals meant to dazzle with sparks of divine fire? If so, then the story of electricity doesn't begin with Edison or Tesla. It begins thousands of years earlier, in temples long reduced to dust. But perhaps the most chilling clues come not from objects, but from architecture itself. The Great Pyramid of Giza, towering over the desert for nearly 5,000 years, contains inner shafts that align precisely with Orion's belt and the North Star. Hidden chambers have been detected within its limestone walls using cosmic ray scans, voids large enough to conceal rooms yet to be entered. What lies sealed inside? Ancient writings hint that the pyramid may not have been a tomb at all, but a kind of machine, one designed to channel energy from the Earth itself. Some physicists now speculate that its unique geometry could have amplified natural frequencies, turning the monument into a resonant power device. If true, the greatest wonder of the ancient world might not be a grave, but a forgotten technology. And Egypt is only one piece of this global puzzle. In South America, at Pumapunku in Bolivia, stones weighing over 100 tons are fitted together with interlocking precision, like the components of a modern machine. The cuts are so exact that a single razor blade cannot slip between them. Archaeologists still debate how such megaliths were transported, carved and assembled without cranes, wheels, or iron tools. Recent studies suggest these blocks may have been poured like a form of ancient concrete, their crystalline structure altered by techniques we don't yet understand. If that's true, then the ruins of Pumapunku hold a technology we've only begun to rediscover in our own laboratories. Meanwhile, new scans beneath the sands of Saqqara in Egypt reveal vast networks of tunnels, some containing mysterious metallic objects unlike anything catalogued before. Scientists hesitate to draw conclusions, but one thing is certain. The ancients were experimenting with materials and methods we never expected. So what happened? If advanced technology existed 5,000 years ago or earlier, why was it lost? Some scholars point to catastrophic floods and climate shifts at the end of the last ice age, which may have erased entire civilizations. Others suggest that knowledge was deliberately hidden, sealed in labyrinths and pyramids, waiting for us to rediscover it when we were ready. And the rediscovery is happening now. Every year, ground-penetrating radar, satellite imaging, and cutting-edge excavation uncover more evidence that challenges our understanding of the past. Far from being primitive, the people of 5,000 years ago may have stood on the shoulders of giants, heirs to a forgotten science that once lit the darkness, moved mountains, and shaped civilizations with tools we can barely imagine. The ruins remain silent, but their stones still speak. They whisper of lost technologies, hidden chambers, and civilizations that rose to astonishing heights before fading into mystery. The question is no longer whether advanced knowledge existed in the deep past. It's how much of it survives, buried beneath the sands, waiting to be found. And if our ancestors achieved such wonders once before, could it happen again? Or are we only now beginning to climb back to the heights they once knew? Because to walk among the ruins is to confront a truth that shakes the very foundation of history. What we thought was the dawn of civilization may only be its shadow. The discovery of advanced technology in ruins dating back 5,000 years forces us to rethink the limits of ancient innovation. But Egypt may hold the most baffling secrets of all, where newly uncovered artifacts reveal lost technologies that defy all explanation. Step with me into the heart of these discoveries and uncover what history has tried to forget.
And on the pedestal, these words appear. My name is Ozymandias, King of Kings. Look on my works, ye mighty, and despair. Nothing beside remains. Round the decay of that colossal wreck, boundless and bare, the lone and level sands stretch far away.
We see them in textbooks, these iconic images: sand, ramps, legions of workers straining under the desert sun. We're told they built the pyramids, stone by colossal stone, with nothing but muscle, rope, and wood. But what if that story, the one we've accepted for centuries, is wrong? What if it's not just improbable, but physically, demonstrably impossible? We're not talking about moving small stones here. We're talking about blocks weighing as much as 1,000 tons, transported hundreds of miles, hoisted hundreds of feet into the air. The colossi of Memnon, 720 tons each, from a quarry near Cairo. Think about that. That's the weight of a modern building. How were they moved over 400 miles? Or this, the shattered remains of a statue that once weighed over 1,000 tons. A single piece of granite. It would take the largest truck, an engineering marvel of today, to even think about moving it. The official story crumbles under its own weight. They say sleds, but wood would pulverize under that pressure. They say boats. But no ancient vessel could handle that load, even if they could sail against the current. So what are we left with? Lost technology? A forgotten cataclysm? A civilization far more advanced than we ever imagined, predating even the pharaohs? The stones themselves whisper a different story. Saw marks, drill holes that defy explanation, evidence of a precision that shouldn't exist. We think we know our history, but the truth is etched in these silent giants, a mystery that challenges everything we believe. They stand as a testament not just to human ingenuity, but perhaps to something far more profound. They are a challenge, asking us one very important question. What do we really know?
We're taught that ancient Egyptians built the pyramids with ramps and sledges. But what if I told you that the accepted story is not only improbable, but potentially impossible? What if the truth is far stranger, hinting at lost technologies and a history more complex than we ever imagined? We're not just talking about moving a few big rocks. We're talking about stones weighing up to 1,000 tons, 2 million pounds, transported hundreds of miles and hoisted hundreds of feet in the air. And the Egyptians? They conveniently left us zero explanation. No blueprints, no diagrams, nothing. Let's start with the Great Pyramid of Giza. Inside, you'll find 70-80-ton granite blocks, sourced from the Aswan Quarry, over 500 miles away. We're talking about stones heavier than a modern Abrams tank, used not just for the base, but in the King's Chamber and the Grand Gallery, hundreds of feet above the ground. The Diary of Mira, a 4,500-year-old papyrus, does describe limestone transport by boat, but these were for smaller blocks and a much shorter distance. It is a far cry from proving the movement of these much larger granite stones. Even Herodotus, the father of history, who visited Egypt centuries later, only describes the use of levers for lifting stones to build the pyramid, a totally implausible explanation, as you will soon see. But Giza's giants are dwarfed by other enigmas. Enter the colossi of Memnon in Luxor, two seated statues, each carved from a single piece of quartzite, weighing a mind-boggling 720 tons each. They stand over 60 feet tall. You have to see them in person to grasp their immensity. Their pedestals alone weigh hundreds of tons. Now, here's where it gets even weirder. These statues originally came from a quarry near Cairo, almost 400 miles away by road. How did they get to Luxor? Modern Egyptologists point to the Nile, but there's a glaring problem. No evidence exists of any ancient Egyptian vessel capable of carrying even a fraction of that weight. Plus, they would have had to sail against the Nile's current. The idea that these were dragged on wooden sleds is equally absurd. The sheer weight would have crushed the wood and embedded it into the very earth. We're talking about forces that defy our understanding of basic physics, especially with Bronze Age technology. This starts us down the path of questioning. Did they have help from technology that has been lost to time?
It wasn't just another hole in the ground. This shaft held secrets of ancient Egyptian civilization and their religious practices that were only beginning to be uncovered. It's fascinating to think that this place was just sitting there, known since the late 19th century but not getting much love from explorers. They were all dazzled by the pyramids and Sphinx.
I don't know how they did it. All I know is they did it. I don't think anybody knows how they did it, how they lifted those stones, how they brought them up to that level. I think we're looking, again, at a lost technology.
But as it turns out, the Osiris shaft had its own tale to tell, one that required a bit of patience to fully appreciate. Enter the 1990s and things started to change. That's when Zahi Hawass, a name many of you might recognize, took the reins and decided it was time to give the Osiris shaft the attention it deserved. Under his guidance, a thorough exploration began, peeling back the layers of its complex architecture. What they found was a marvel, a glimpse into the depth of Egyptian religious thought and engineering prowess. But getting to the heart of the Osiris shaft wasn't a walk in the park. The team faced the massive challenge of pumping out water that had filled its lower levels, especially the third level that was partially underwater.
But what happened a few years ago, that the water began to rise in front of the Sphinx temple outside. Then I was really afraid that this water can damage the Sphinx.
Imagine the effort it took to bring in modern pumping equipment and clear out all that water just to access the deepest secrets of the shaft. Its 3 levels diving deep into the earth turned out to be a fascinating puzzle of architecture, burial customs, and hidden treasures. The first thing that caught their eyes was the shaft's design itself. It's a marvel of ancient engineering, with each level serving its own mysterious purpose. Down at the very bottom, a large stone sarcophagus sits in a chamber that's partly underwater, painting a vivid picture of the ancient Egyptian underworld right there beneath our feet. It's as if they built their own version of the afterlife hidden deep in the Giza plateau. But then there's the second level with its 6 empty burial shafts. Imagine the archaeologists' surprise finding them all vacant. It sparks so many questions. Were they plundered, or were they never meant to hold anything in the first place? This level offers a glimpse into the burial practices and rituals of the time, even if it leaves us guessing about some of the details. Despite the lack of inscriptions, a kind of ancient billboard that could have told us exactly who made this and when, the bits and pieces found throughout the shaft speak volumes. Pottery shards, fragments of stone vessels, and other small artifacts serve as breadcrumbs leading us back in time, suggesting that the Osiris shaft might hail from the New Kingdom period. It's like detective work, where every clue helps build a case for when this incredible structure came into being. But perhaps the most touching finds were the mummified remains tucked away in the smaller chambers around that central sarcophagus. It's one thing to study the grand monuments and temples, but it's another to come face to face with the people themselves. Analyzing these remains gives us a rare peek into the lives of those who once walked the streets of ancient Egypt, what they ate, how they lived, and maybe even how they died. Let's talk about Osiris for a moment. He's not your average deity, he's the ancient Egyptian god of the afterlife, death and rebirth. The story goes that Osiris was betrayed by his brother Set, leading to a saga of death, dismemberment, and a resurrection that sounds like it came straight out of a blockbuster movie. His wife Isis put him back together and brought him back to life. Osiris's story is a cornerstone of Egyptian mythology, embodying the eternal cycle of life, death, and rebirth. And guess what? The Osiris shaft is like a three-dimensional tribute to this epic tale. Down in the depths of the shaft, there's this chamber filled with water that's believed to represent the underworld. Imagine standing there in front of a large stone sarcophagus that's meant to symbolize Osiris's tomb. It's not just a tomb, it's a symbol of his journey through death and his role as the ruler of the afterlife. But why build such a place? Well, one theory is that the Osiris shaft was a venue for initiation rites. Think of it as a spiritual boot camp where participants would undergo trials, symbolizing death and rebirth, much like Osiris did. These rites weren't just for show. They were believed to impart secret knowledge and bring about a spiritual transformation in the initiates. Some even speculate that the shaft's design was guided by the stars, aligning with celestial bodies that the ancient Egyptians associated with Osiris and the afterlife. It's as if the shaft was a bridge between Earth and the heavens, a physical representation of the soul's journey after death. What's truly fascinating is how the physical structure of the Osiris shaft and the artifacts found within echo the ancient texts like the pyramid texts and the Book of the Dead. These texts offer a glimpse into the Egyptian view of the afterlife, complete with references to water, boats, and, yes, the significance of sarcophagi. It's like the shaft is a stone-bound version of these ancient scrolls, a tangible connection to the beliefs and rituals of a civilization long gone. Buried deep within the limestone bedrock, the Osiris shaft, it's a three-level maze that masterfully blends practicality with a touch of the mystical. Let's dive into what makes the architecture and structure of the Osiris shaft so fascinating. First off, the way this shaft was designed and built is nothing short of amazing. It shows just how advanced the ancient Egyptians were in their planning and building techniques. The precision with which they carved out these chambers from the bedrock really makes you wonder about their deep understanding of the earth beneath them. At the entrance, you're greeted by a rectangular opening that starts your descent into the depths. This isn't just a hole in the ground, it's a carefully carved vertical shaft dropping down about 10 meters. Imagine the effort it took to remove all that limestone, using tools made from harder stones and metals, and even ropes and wooden scaffolding. It's a testament to their engineering skills. The first chamber you hit is pretty modest. No flashy decorations or treasures, but its simplicity might have been the point. It's like a waiting room or a space for getting ready for something more profound down below, maybe even for some kind of purification rites. But the real intrigue starts when you go deeper to the second level. Here, there's another shaft leading down another 20 meters, and this chamber is a bit more complex. These shafts could have been meant for actual burials, or perhaps as a representation of the journey to the afterlife. The third level is where things get even more dramatic. You go down another shaft, and this time you're 30 meters below the surface. Here lies a large stone sarcophagus, right in the center of the chamber. This isn't just a burial place, it's a symbolic representation of Osiris's tomb. The fact that this chamber is partially filled with water from the natural aquifer adds to the mystique. tying it to themes of rebirth and purification in Egyptian mythology. Graham Hancock is a name that often sparks lively discussions whenever ancient civilizations are mentioned.
There are huge corporations that have very large investments in a particular path of technology. For somebody to come up with a whole new path of technology, it's very threatening to them.
Known for his captivating books like Fingerprints of the Gods and Magicians of the Gods, Hancock is no stranger to controversy, especially with his theories that challenge the mainstream archaeological narrative. Today, let's dive into how Hancock's unconventional ideas might shed new light on the mysterious Osiris shaft.
They fell there, something like that.
All of them?
Yeah, all
Over
of them.
many
and
years?
somehow buried themselves under the topsoil.
At the core of Hancock's theories is the tantalizing notion of a lost advanced civilization. This isn't just any civilization, but one that supposedly predates all known history, equipped with knowledge in astronomy, architecture, and mathematics that far exceeds what we'd expect from our ancient ancestors. Hancock might say the Osiris shaft, with its intricate design and possible astronomical alignments, serves as a kind of time capsule from this sophisticated society. Could it be that this ancient marvel is much older than we think, or that it was built with wisdom handed down from this enigmatic civilization? Hancock's fascination doesn't stop at architecture. He's also keenly interested in how these ancient structures align with the stars. While he hasn't specifically pinpointed the Osiris shaft in his star maps, it's easy to imagine it fitting neatly into his grand scheme of things. Could the shaft's orientation hint at a connection to celestial events or constellations tied to Osiris and the themes of death and rebirth? Hancock's work suggests that many of Egypt's ancient monuments are part of a larger cosmic blueprint, and the Osiris shaft might just be another piece of that puzzle. One of the more dramatic elements of Hancock's theories involves global cataclysms, particularly those caused by comet impacts around 12,800 to 11,600 years ago, during what's known as the Younger Dryas. He proposes that these catastrophic events could have wiped out the advanced civilization he theorizes about. So, when we look at the water filling the lower levels of the Osiris shaft, Hancock might see it as more than just groundwater seepage. He could interpret it as a deliberate nod to the ancient deluges, a symbol of the world-altering floods that his hypothesized civilization endured. Do you think there have been multiple ancient cataclysms?
Under the desert sun in Abydos, Egypt, archaeologists carefully excavated the entrance to a newly found tomb, one that had remained hidden beneath the sands for millennia. In early 2025, their international team was stunned to uncover a massive 3,600-year-old burial chamber nearly 23 feet underground. The site, a rocky bluff known as Anubis Mountain near the ancient city of Abydos, had long been a sacred necropolis. Legend holds it as the burial ground of Osiris, lord of the underworld. Few expected that such a grand royal tomb could still lie undiscovered here in modern times. Yet, as the diggers cleared away centuries of sediment, a decorated entryway emerged, its doorway lined with faded hieroglyphic inscriptions and images of ancient guardians, still watching over the entrance after millennia, leading into a series of chambers capped by towering 16-foot-high mud-brick vaults, an architectural marvel that has remained intact after 36 centuries. This was an unmistakably monumental tomb, and its age and location hinted at something extraordinary. In fact, many on the expedition believed they had already found all the royal tombs Abydos had to offer, until this moment proved them wrong. With hearts pounding, the team descended into the darkness of the tomb. They clambered down the shaft and through a passageway that had been sealed for centuries, their flashlights dancing across walls that hadn't seen light since antiquity. Deep inside the tomb, the explorers found unmistakable proof of its royal status. Part of the chamber's ceiling was still intact, painted a midnight blue and sprinkled with golden stars, a motif used only in the tombs of kings. Even the veteran archaeologists on site were moved by the discovery's significance. One field director confessed that when he finally climbed back to the surface, he burst into tears, overcome with emotion at what they had uncovered. Dr. Josef Wegner, the lead archaeologist, noted that they came upon a royal tomb we had no idea existed. evidence of what he called a lost, forgotten dynasty hidden in the desert. It's not every day that history literally rewrites itself with the find of a single tomb. Yet for all its grandeur, the tomb itself held a haunting absence. Inside the burial chamber there was no mummy, no treasure, not even a name. The pharaoh's remains and funerary goods had vanished without a trace. The hieroglyphs that once proudly proclaimed his identity on the doorway were gouged out, leaving only blank stone where royal cartouches should have been. Archaeologists could only curse the likely culprits, grave robbers who plundered the tomb thousands of years ago. The ancient tomb robbers were not always very considerate, one archaeologist quipped, noting how little evidence was left behind for posterity. From the tomb's grand design, it was clear this had been a richly equipped burial, precisely the kind that would attract plunder in ancient times. The fallen king probably ruled around 1600 BCE in the midst of Egypt's turbulent Second Intermediate period. Egypt was fractured into multiple rival kingdoms, as many as 4 coexisting rulers according to historians, and even a pharaoh's eternal rest could be violently interrupted, his name and body consigned to oblivion by the sands of time. All hope is not lost for identifying this mysterious monarch. Archaeologists are now widening their search in the sands around the tomb, determined to unearth any clue the looters might have missed. There's significant potential in the orbit of the tomb, one researcher noted. Perhaps a fragment of a stone vessel or a discarded canopic jar, still bearing the pharaoh's name, lies hidden nearby. Even the smallest discovery could crack this royal mystery wide open. Even a few broken artifacts can reveal a pharaoh's identity. Inscribed alabaster jar fragments from other tombs have borne the names of kings like Thutmose II and Queen Hatshepsut, tiny clues that confirmed their ownership. If a similar fragment lies hidden here in Abydos, it could finally tell archaeologists whom this tomb belonged to. There's even a tantalizing possibility that this pharaoh's story may yet have another chapter. Some experts suspect that when the tomb was desecrated, the king's ancient priests or descendants might have rescued his mummy and whatever treasures they could, reburying them in a secret cache for protection. In our mind's eye, we can imagine the aftermath. Loyal priests or family members returning by moonlight to the desecrated tomb, determined to save their beloved ruler's soul. Perhaps they gathered up the pharaoh's mummified body and the remaining sacred relics, then spirited them away to a safer hiding place, far from prying eyes. In fact, the expedition team has hints of where a second tomb or hidden chamber might be, a place where this long-lost ruler could have ultimately been laid to rest after all. If such a find is made, it would turn this apparent tragedy of a plundered grave into an archaeological triumph, recovering the very legacy that robbers tried to erase. For Egyptologists and history lovers alike, the implications of this find are immense. Even without glittering riches, this empty tomb is a treasure trove of knowledge, a chance to illuminate a forgotten chapter of Egypt's past. Each hieroglyph and artifact retrieved helps scholars piece together the lineage of a long-lost dynasty, filling gaps in the timeline of pharaohs. Just a decade ago, nobody even knew this dynasty existed. Now we have evidence of multiple unknown kings who ruled and died in the shadows of history. And with 2 pharaonic tombs unearthed in rapid succession after so many decades of silence, archaeologists are daring to hope that more surprises still lie buried in the sands. The desert, it seems, still holds many secrets. One can only wonder, what other long-lost wonders lie buried, waiting for the next explorer to unearth them? As the dust settles on this discovery, one thing is certain. The lost tomb of this forgotten pharaoh has proven that even in the modern age, there are wonders in Egypt waiting to be unearthed.